and some men from our church go for an evening praise and worship time. So we have been involved with it, and the purpose of this is just to keep you updated on what's happening, and so that we're not just supporting with our money, that you also know what's happening there and are able to pray more effectively. So I will introduce Kirk and Tom. They're going to be sharing with us, and we have a DVD that will be playing as well. So,
all right.
Turn it over to you guys.
Thank you very much. My name is Kirk, and we're representing the mission. I'm a missionary over there with Tom. Things are going really good. We really do appreciate all the support. We'll talk more about it, but to get started, to let you know what we're doing over there, we have two parts of a video. Essentially, there's two parts to our program. We have community outreach. We provide meals to the community. Anybody can walk in, men and women. We also we write vouchers for our thrift store if anybody needs anything. And we supply them with clothing, toiletries, cosmetics, anything that we have, we give freely. And then on top of food for men in the community that are homeless, we house upwards of 20 men a night that walk in emergency shelter. Unfortunately, we can't provide temporary or longer-term shelter. We can only provide emergency shelter. But we work with the individual men to try to get them started on their way back to permanent housing. And then the other part of the mission that we provide is a faith-based long-term recovery program. And it runs anywhere between 9 and 12 months. And we take in men at no cost, thanks to all the people that are donors and supporters. And we provide a safe environment, where it's a drug-free environment, alcohol and drug-free environment. We give shelter, room and board, everything that they need. They can put life on pause and focus on recovery and growth with their relationship with the Lord. So the video does a very good explanation. We'll just get that started, and then me and Tom will speak a little bit more about what we do over there and to answer any questions. So please enjoy.
I didn't grow up at 10 years old saying, I can't wait to be the best heroin addict possible. I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to run businesses. Usually when you're spiraling down, you don't even realize it's happening until you hit bottom. Then all of a sudden you're like, wait a second, how did I get here? Happened like that. So fast. I remember the first time I came into Morristown, and I really came here. I thought this was just a place to die. Really, I thought this is it. Let me die. Let me just die here. And I said, well, let me just go take a look at this place. And I said, hey, do you know where this place, Market Street Mission, is on the green? And the guy said, you see that sign that says Jesus saves? I'm like, yeah. He's like, that's it. I knew instantly. There's something came over me. I remember it was like a feeling, like these chills that you get. I'm like, wait a second, that's where I'm going to go. And I just went right in. And I knew instantly that maybe this isn't the end of the line. Maybe there's something else here. That first night, sleeping on the chapel floor, of course, all the pride, all the ego. I'm not sleeping on this floor with these people. And I didn't sleep much that night. I didn't sleep for the first 6 days. But that following morning when we had chapel, the very first song they sang was Amazing Grace. And I bawled my eyes out. I knew then I'm saved. I'm safe. There's hope. Jesus has got me. And this overwhelming peace came over me. I started seeing a lot of hope. I started saying, this is it. I can do this. He can restore my life. And that's how it started here.
The Market Street Mission is like a place where they take everything you need and they place it in front of you. But yet, nobody pushes you to it. They instruct you, and they let you know that it's there. And if you're not ready and willing to do what you have to do for yourself, I would say that the Market Street Mission is not the place for you.
What I think is unique about Market Street Mission, they give you freedom, and like the choices are actually up to you. I mean, nobody really pushes you, or they don't make you stay here. It's up to you. If you want it, they go out of their way to do what they can do for you.
As a child of God in Christ, do solemnly pledge to live a drug-free life, righteously in God in this present world. I will say no to harmful drugs and alcohol, and I will not use them. And I will help my friends and others say no to harmful drugs and alcohol. And I will stand up for what I know is true and right. So help me God, I am the body of Christ.
I used to live in the area, and I remember walking by the mission and looked up at the sign, Jesus Saves. It's like, whoa. Whew. It's like, what kind of madness is happening in there, right? But when I came in, I was relieved to find that people genuinely care. And that emanates, honestly, from God to residents and staff. That's, truthfully, I believe that's the way it works.
The brothers that were around me became my brothers. Some of the women staff became like my sisters. These people were total strangers to me, and they embraced me, and it helped nurture me to be who I am.
When you have that many people staying in one place, 70 people in one building, and somebody that works in the office comes by and knows your name, that's an important part in your life, because you need to know that people care about you. And what you're going through is very hard. Recovery is not an easy thing.
And the love and concern that I got was genuine. It wasn't manufactured, because no one here really had to care for each other. People looked out, people worked hard with each other, and they cared enough to help people get honest with who they are and what they're about, because we're all exactly alike in so many ways.
The most positive thing I can say about Market Street is I've been given all the opportunities to let myself grow. And that's what you need to do. They open doors, and you could walk in them or walk away from them. And that's the most positive thing I could say.
It also created structure in my life. Drug addicts don't have any structure. We wake up whenever we want. We don't have to go to work. We don't have to pay for anything. We don't have to do anything. We never ate. So what it did was it created a structured environment. I have to have my bed made. I have to have my clothes in order. They have to be folded. I have to wash my clothes. I have to brush my teeth. I have to bathe myself. I have to comb my hair. And I have to go to work. And this is what it means to be a man. This is what it means to be responsible.
This is where my life really began, and it turned around. So the Market Street Mission, I could say, saved my life. You know, because I've been through so many things. And it's a place that I could come in here and see people like me that come the first week or the second week. And I could see, there go I, through the grace of God, there go I. And hope that that person will get to make it like I made it.
My graduation experience was excellent, because up until that point, I had never finished anything. Those other 6 programs that I talked about, I left them all prematurely. Every last one of them I would do until I felt like it was enough, and I would leave. But this was the first thing that I completed. I could say I got a completion, you know.
15 years of drug addiction, 10 years of drug addiction don't go away in a couple of weeks. It's a time, it's a process. But the promise is, if you go through it, and if you do that, you put your trust in Him, and you will be transformed. You will be healed. Your mind will be restored. I never would have imagined that my life would be this extraordinary so soon. And it's just getting started.
I'm no longer an enemy to God, no longer an enemy to others. I'm no longer an enemy to myself. I'm no longer engaged in self-defeating attitudes and behaviors with myself, God, and others. That's what I hold dear.
Market Street Mission, it gave me the chance to love myself and build myself, build my wisdom, for me to understand things, everyday living. It's just minute to what God got planned for me. All the stuff that I've been through in my addiction was bad. So now that I became clean and I put the Lord first, things that happen during the day I could look at as a small thing because the Lord has my back, and that's how it is.
The second half of the video, I feel just a little bit of explanation, because this is all about Market Street, and we're here representing the Jersey Shore Rescue Mission. It was about 15 years ago that the parish of Market Street, the people in Market Street, felt the calling that they should open another mission. And they searched around and looked, and that's when they came down and God directed them here to Asbury Park, to the Jersey Shore. They secured the building, but it took a couple of extra more years, a lot of work, a lot of pushback from the community, not in my backyard. But through perseverance, we were able to get the doors open, I think, 12 years ago. Is that what you're saying?
It was 2006, and then it was briefly closed in 12, and then opened back.
For refurbishing. So in 06, we finally got to go ahead to open the doors. And what they're talking about here is the long-term life change program. And at the Jersey Shore, we have the initial phase of the long-term life change program. We offer 2 months down here, and then we transition the men up to finish at Market Street. We'll talk more about it, but I know it's just a little confusing as I watched it, and we're here representing the Jersey Shore Rescue Mission, and that's all about the Market Street. It's the same, essentially the same program, run by the same people. Their calling was to come down and spread out, and that's what we're doing. And that's what you're supporting firsthand, is an extension, a sister mission of the Market Street Mission, the Jersey Shore Rescue Mission. The need is everywhere. The epidemic of the opioids in New Jersey, as everybody knows, is through the roof, killing people on a daily basis. So now I believe the next part of the video will be about just our community outreach that we do. Again, it's about what we do in Morristown, but it's the same platform. We put meals out for everybody in the community. We provide housing and clothing, toiletries, shower facilities, anything we can do. We open our doors. So let me just watch a second
here. A lot of people think that Market Street is just about our men's life change program, but actually we want to very much be a part of the broader community here and provide for emergency needs as they come up. 25% of the stuff that we do in the area of emergency services is with women and children. A major area is in the area of food, where we'll provide breakfast and dinner 7 days a week. We will provide clothing, dishes, furniture from our thrift store through a voucher program. In fact, last year we gave away more than $31,000 worth of things. We have a coat giveaway the first Saturday in November. This has been a long-standing tradition to try and meet that particular need. As Hispanics have become a bigger part of our population, ESL is a major piece where we're providing help with English. Well, one of the things that people always want to know is how they can get their hands dirty here. And it's exciting to see them come in and ladle up the soup. But as we look at them as an individual, a key piece is to say, well, who are you? almost anything that anybody does, the Lord can use in this ministry. That's one of the wonderful things about being here in the Morris County area, where we're not going overseas, where you can be a part of your normal life here. One of the things we really want to do is invite people to come and see what we do. As we express to our donors, you need to actually come and visit us so we can walk you through our facilities and you can see our learning center. You can see the dormitory areas, and then as you walk the halls, get a real feel for the ministry that goes on here. When we take somebody from the chapel floor, as we begin in the shelter, clear up through the leadership dorm on the 4th floor.
How you doing, guys? My name is Tom. As Kurt said, a lot of the information in this is Market Street Mission. You can start the program in Market Street, or you can start the program in Jersey Shore and Asbury Park. Like I said, the only really difference is you do the 2 months, you start the program, it's 2 months in Jersey Shore, and the rest of the programs there. They're basically the same ministry, the same mission, just different locations. Asbury Park is more geared towards the homeless population. There's only really, they extended our dorm now, I think it's 14 beds. And it was 10. So there's really only 10, say 10, 12 guys there. But the rest, the majority is the homeless population. A lot of guys come for dinner. We serve probably anywhere from 30 to like 45 meals for the, for overnight guests. Anybody from the street, women, children can come and eat dinner every night of the year. Like we said, we also do stuff from our thrift store. If people need clothing, families need clothing. Another thing that we've been trying to do recently is we work with the VNA, it's a Visiting Nurse Association. A lot of clients that come in there that need furniture, bedding, beds, whatever, dressers, stuff like that for their house. We also, they send people over to our thrift store, and we give out vouchers for that. Social Services does a voucher program also, which they actually give us money. They'll send people there with a certain, usually it's like $560 or like $700. They'll come with the voucher. We'll give them the furniture, and they send us a check. The VNA is pretty much we just give them what we have, and we don't get the money. But we're trying to, do more with the community like that. We're trying to do more with the community in like certain churches, so that they know that we're there, what we do, kind of thing. The guy Danny's the manager of the thrift store. He started this mattress program with his church. So anyone in the community that needs a mattress, they can come, and then his church will, reimburse the mission. So we're trying to do stuff like that. Basically, my story. I'm going to a little bit briefly about my story. I came in. I started at the Jersey Shore in Asbury. I came in, July 1st of 2016, and I had been to, like some of these guys said, I've been to multiple programs, like 4 or 5 programs. I've been to three detoxes, and most of my life, probably 12 and 13 years of my life, I spent kind of doing what I wanted to do. I didn't really want to listen to anybody or take any direction from anybody, and I kind of started experimenting early in high school and kind of just led down a different road. It's not, I don't know if it was anybody's fault. It was just the environment that I was in and the people that I was with, and kind of, I liked it, and it kind of brought me out of myself and made me feel more comfortable talking to people, because this is not really what I like to do. So I continued on with that, and with drugs, selling drugs, and just, like I said, just a lifestyle that I wasn't really used to, but it kind of was something I enjoyed, and it just made me feel different, and that's what I wanted to do. And it didn't really, wasn't until later, probably like early 30s, that I really had my first consequences of, I got arrested, and, multiple other things happened, probation, this, that, and the other thing. And I started sort of saw like the AA thing in programs that I went to. I just didn't really catch on. I knew kind of, what people were saying, but there was still something missing. They explained that this whole AA thing, I didn't really realize until I came to the mission that the whole reason that AA and NA work is because of God, and God is the only thing that can remove this from you. And when I first got there, I kind of knew, I knew that Jersey Shore Rescue Mission was the only place on the list that was, actually, it's funny how I actually ended up there. I was at a detox, and I had been to this detox like 5 times. And I knew I needed to do something. I'd been to like the 21-day programs, and I knew that I needed something longer. I didn't know what it was, but I just didn't want to live my life this way anymore. So the guy gave me a list, the counselor gave me a list of places that I could go, and he said, actually Jersey Shore Rescue Mission had called, and the detox and said they had an open bed, and I didn't really want to go to Asbury, and so I called all the other numbers on the list, and no one's answered, or they said they were full. I even called Market Street Mission, because I used to live up north, and I remember the Jesus Saves sign, and I called them, and they said they were full. So it wasn't until later till I realized that they were connected, as we're parking here. But I said, when I found out that Jersey Shore Rescue Mission was related to Market Street Mission, I remember driving past it up in Morristown and seeing the Jesus Saves sign, and I just kind of like shook my head. I didn't know what it was about. I didn't know what went on there. And when I got there, I just kind of I saw like all the staff there, the people that come in and do chapel. I just had, I was kind of just thinking and just listened for like the first 30 days. And everybody there had like this like attitude, like this good attitude, and was like, you can see that they're happy. And I was like wondering why it was so, like what was going on here? It was something was going on, and the people came to do chapel, and it was just basically everybody saying the same thing, that the only thing, or basically most important thing that we can all do is have a relationship with God. And it was weird until I really realized that I think that God was basically put me there in order to speak to me through other people that came in, all the staff and interns there. And basically everybody is there. When I found out that everybody really is there because of what God has done in their life. They're not there for the pay, because they don't really pay well at all. They're not there to make anybody, to make themselves look better. But genuinely, everybody that is there that I've seen is 100% there because of what God has done in their life. And basically, just to share to other people, and basically that people coming in, they don't really force you to listen, but if you're willing to listen to what they have to say, you can realize that this is how it works. This can keep you sober. This can make you change your life. And if I were to look back, 2 years, it's going to be 2 years, I guess, next month, and been clean and sober. I wouldn't see myself here at the intern at the mission. I didn't even really go to church. I grew up in a Catholic church. I didn't really know God. I knew God really existed, but I didn't know He could help me. I didn't know what He could do for me, and I needed God every day of my life. So, in kind of like a summary, like I've gone to church. I go to Jersey Shore Catholic Chapel, and I get involved. I do the parking lot ministry there, greet people. They have Bible study. We do a men's group, and I think the most important thing that I can do is just keep myself surrounded with these people there, and pray, meditate, read God's Word. And just I used to do construction and tile work in my for the past 20 years, and I want to go to hopefully get my master's in social work and continue doing this in my life. Helping other people is probably the best thing that's helped me so far. So I'm just going to continue to do that, and continue just to pray and ask God for direction in every part of my life. And it's pretty much how it worked for me. I'm going to speak a little bit. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. So, Tom summed it up pretty good. Life was really bad, and we found our way there by it was not my will. I did not go to the Market Street Mission by my will. It was by the grace of God that I was blessed to land there, because I'd been in and out of recovery. So, and nothing seemed to really work. And it's completely different this time. I was speaking earlier before we started about how removing the drugs and alcohol is a great thing. It's a miracle. But you need to fill that void, and that's what I suffered through all my life. I like to refer to it, we do in the rooms, Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, as a God-shaped hole that I used to pour drugs and alcohol into all my life. And today I allow God to come into it. He's been knocking at the door, he's been present. There's been 100 forks in the road, and I've taken my will and denied his. So it's made all the difference. The part about the mission that I was thinking about, besides my testimony, which again is probably the same as everybody's testimony, you know, life was bad and now it's good, and the difference is God. I can't say it any simpler than that. Part about the mission that I'd like to talk about, and I think you kind of sparked my memories when you said I did tile, or I did construction. We have 60 men in there, and they all have a skill set, and it's amazing how we get to utilize them. We have a kitchen staff, we have a laundry staff, we have a maintenance staff. There's the thrift store with the warehouse and the front, the retail aspect. We have people picking up and cleaning out homes. We have people delivering furniture. We have, back then you saw the computers were very large. We have a nice updated modern learning center with that World Wide Web that you kids talk about so much. So we have people working in the Learning Center, and we have people helping in administrative capacities, answering the phones, explaining, doing what I'm doing. It's amazing. So the men at the mission really get to support. We have work therapy that takes up at least a half of the day, 4 hours a day of work therapy. And it's an introduction. It's a transition back into it. Like the gentleman on the video said, as an addict, I didn't go to work in a traditional form. I went to work in it was to work to feed my addiction, you know, in whatever form that was. Sometimes it was quite nefarious, right? And sometimes I was able to hold down a legitimate job. But the structure of getting up and going to work, and starting the day in chapel, again, another thing we were speaking of is chapel service every morning. We start a little bit of, we start with a devotion. So the gentlemen get experience that may not feel comfortable to come up and read a little bit from the Bible and read a little bit from, or speak a little bit on what it means to them, you know? So we do that, and then that transitions every morning into praise and worship, where the men sing. And I don't know when the last time any of you have been in a room full of 60 men praising the Lord with song. It's a really, really beautiful thing, and it works. And I couldn't start. I don't think I could have made it through the mission without that. It ties us together. There's a great fellowship, a great brotherhood there at the mission that ties us together. We all try to support each other. Granted, there's a little bit of cutting up and having fun. I can't imagine that 60 alcohol and drug addicts are sitting around, you know, being good boys, but we do help each other out, and we do have a greater goal, right? It's to recover from the hopeless state of mind and body that we were in, and to allow God into our lives, and it's made a difference in mine. Is there anybody that has any questions about what we're doing? Yes, please.
I'm sorry I came late and may have covered this, but they don't detox in these areas. They have to come detoxed.
Yeah.
Or if they come and they want to join you, you have to have a detox place.
We would highly prefer that you detox in a medical facility.
Okay. That's
but being Christians, we're not going to turn our backs on anyone. So it wouldn't be the first time somebody sweated it out on the chapel floor. Okay. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Your biggest need right now?
I just spoke with our director before I came. Underwear. We get a lot of clothing in our donations between Market Street up in Morristown and here. Our warehouses are constantly flowing with clothing, and we'll always take clothing and we can supply that back into the community. But used underwear doesn't really cut it, so we need the new underwear. Socks in the winter, yes. T-shirts also. T-shirts. We can sometimes reuse T-shirts and use them, but the gentlemen really like new underwear. And your time, your concern, your prayers, what you do here at this church, inviting us here to come and worship with you is very valuable. Yeah. Love, Christian love is very valuable for all of us. Yes?
I'm sorry I came a little late. It sounds to me very much like it's like Keswick. Is it like Keswick?
Similar, I guess. Maybe you can explain Keswick a little bit.
Oh, you haven't heard of Keswick. It's been there forever and ever, and it's been there for years. And we have a very good friend who went, his son went there 3 times.
Speak on Keswick?
Well, I've never been to Keswick. I think it's definitely similar to what they do. I think it's more that there's more very
Keswick doesn't
more
do
Bible
community outreach.
What's that?
Keswick doesn't do as much community really doesn't do any community outreach besides opening up the chapel for chapel services.
Yes.
Whereas Market Street and Jersey Shore will open up, their main ministry is to help the community. So that's a big difference between Keswick and Jersey Shore and Market Street. And then the other one is with Keswick, it's a very small group. I think that at any given time there's only 20 men in the program, where Market Street and Jersey Shore, between the two, the pre-program at Jersey Shore and the program at Market Street, there's about 70 guys in the program, pre-programmed to interns, and not to mention the 40 or so on any given time that we're helping out overnight guests. So the main difference would be the community outreach and the amount of people. Yeah.
We by no means hold the patent on Christian faith-based recovery programs. They're all throughout the whole country, right? They really do work. The Market Street Mission has been around for 129 years. They're pretty well rooted in the community up there. It makes it easy for us to do the work we do up there. We go almost anywhere you go. You mentioned the Market Street Mission, and we're received really well with open arms. Do you know the story about that 129 years ago and the lives of the men?
I don't know really the whole story.
You may know a little more than I do.
I know up until like 30 years ago when the executive director now, Dave Scott, I think he had worked at other missions and was directors of other missions. But before that, I think it was basically a place for people to come. Basically, it was kind of just like a house or a building that people just came. I don't know if they really had any program. I don't know how long they've had the thrift store. But it wasn't really nearly what we do now. When Dave came, he kind of implemented the whole, they've been putting it like a huge addition onto it, and basically made the program where there's a pre-program, there's a phase 1, a phase 2, and then there's like a kind of like a transition period. So like he kind of really, he didn't really invent that, but like he had worked at other missions and kind of implemented it at our mission. So I think before it was just a whole bunch of guys that came there. I don't think they really, I think some of them weren't really staying sober. I don't know if they really, I don't really know the whole story. But it was basically, it wasn't nearly what it is now.
Dave Scott Sr. definitely implemented a massive amount of change and turned the mission around. 30 years now he's been there. But what I was referring to was 129 years ago, and I do not know these facts, but from what I've heard, just by being in the mission, I believe it was started by the wives of the men. Charlie, you can confirm this, right? The wives of the men in Morristown, because alcohol was a serious problem, and they weren't coming home. And they were wise enough to realize that a relationship with God was what their husbands needed. And so the mission was started with that as the main problem, alcoholism. And so the wives, it was ran by women at that time, and it's slowly progressed throughout time, addressing the issues of society as they occurred. Prior to Dave coming in 30 some odd years ago, it was.
I've heard like the flop house.
Yeah, it was. Well, I mean, you know, it was more of a traditional mission in the mission sense in the city, right? Where no questions asked, you were allowed to come. And you know who told me a lot about it was Phil Dozier, our chaplain up there. He told me he came in 30 years ago as a client, the same time that Dave Sr. came in as the administrator, and he said it was a place where the men came to die, really, at the end of their life, riddled with addiction, hopeless, and desperate. They would come and just pretty much retire.
I don't think there was any structure. It was just
so they breathed hope and change, and you know, instead of just
Hi.
yeah.
Like, you said there's 14 beds?
At the Asbury Park Rescue Mission, there are 14 beds in the dorm for the Life Change program, correct?
Okay. Now, do you two represent the Morristown?
No, we work here at Jersey
You're
Shore.
in NAP?
We're both graduates from the program up in Morristown.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, like, what's the admission criteria for coming into Asbury if you're a homeless person, or I mean, are people recommended? I know people will suggest going to the mission, you know, but is there a certain, you know, is there an arrest record? Do you have to remain clean? Do they do urine tests, all that jazz?
Great questions. Wonderful. For the Life Change program, and even the overnight, it's basically the same.
Well, yeah. Basically, if you want to stay overnight, you can't be on any narcotic medication, no benzos or pain medication. I don't even think they really want you taking Suboxone or methadone. You can be on psych meds if you stay overnight. You have to be able to get up and down the stairs because they don't have an elevator. No IV drugs. I don't think you can.
No sharps, no needles.
IV insulin. But you can stay there if you are on psych meds. For the program, if you want to enter the program, you can't be on pretty much any medication because we are not a medical facility. They don't want to be. They don't want to be responsible for people and medication and stuff like that. So basically, if you want to enter the program, they don't really want to have you on any medication at all. No psych meds, no pain meds, no benzos at all.
So you can stay as an overnight guest, you know? You don't have to enter the program? It's not a requirement?
Right. We offer emergency care for 10 days, and then we have an evaluation. If you're moving forward to taking steps to get permanent residence or temporary residence, actually, because you're in an emergency shelter, we can extend that. But we really do not go beyond 30 days for the emergency shelter. We also draw a lot of men that come from the overnights into the Life Change program.
I think that was Dave's got kind of vision also.
Sure.
People coming overnight and they go to chapel and they see what's going on there. They see the men participating and helping and cleaning and you know, and a lot of times it does people decide to ask questions like how can I get involved or what can I do to get in. Sometimes they have to go to, sometimes they have to, some guys will get off their psych meds, they will go to the doctor and they'll wean them down in the time that they're able to stay overnight. And, eventually they'll end up joining the program complete. And, it happens pretty often.
Go ahead.
We don't charge any money. It's completely funded by donations. And so there really is no insurance requirements. I think the only real legal requirement is a certain level of sexual offenders we do not take, but any criminal background, any story, we're here for the hopeless. That's what we're doing, right? with certain limitations.
Another thing too, I know Pastor, and I haven't really talked to him deeply about it, but he comes and he does a chapel.
Absolutely.
Every week or something. And I know it's a men with the men, women with the woman gig thing. But are other people, if it's a men's shelter, are women allowed to do a chapel thing?
The chapels are open to the men and the women. It's open to the public. We're just a men's shelter. This isn't like Alcoholics Anonymous where we separate. We aren't at that level where we're drawing in that many people. We strictly are working with men. The chapel services are open. The food we provide. Women can come and take showers. We keep them segregated. We provide clothing. Any of the emergency services that we can apply to women, children, or families, we do. But overnight, when it comes down to locking them down and closing the doors, and for the Life Change program, it's got to strictly be. We just don't have the capacity to handle it.
But for women who come, you recommend a shelter?
Sure, we work our hardest to find a spot for anybody in any need, right? A woman's shelter, a woman's program similar to ours. There's another woman's program up in Morristown, right down the block, that handles women just like we do.
I came in like 2 months ago, 3 months ago, and I got an application for the rescue mission there. And the gentleman that I talked to at the front desk said to go speak to, I think it was Tom. Does somebody do the applications?
An application for employment?
No, to volunteer.
Volunteer, yeah.
Who you could speak with Phil?
Phil Richards, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's always something for people to do.
He's there Monday through Friday, like 9. He gets there at 9:30 and 10. If you want to call the main number, you can probably speak with Phil.
Okay.
And like you said about the pastor bringing in chapel service, we work with all the churches in all areas. So at any given time, there's another church being represented. I have done this testimony at numerous churches, telling them how what their support is doing, how it's changed my life, and how it's helping to change the life of other men, and what we do to help them get back to the community. So it's not one church at all. It's all the giving and love.
What time is the service?
Chapel services between 7 and 8.
I'm sorry, 7 and 8?
Yeah.
7 to 8. 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock every night.
There was somebody over here? Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that about 55 or 60 years ago, my grandfather used to volunteer in the Market Street Mission, and he used to preach. And he told us as children that there were a lot of businessmen who had been alcoholics, and they had successful jobs, and because of alcohol, they just were out of work. Their families were torn apart, and he saw a lot of people saved up there.
It's amazing. It's amazing. They're miracles. The Market Street Mission has helped so many people throughout the years, and the disease of alcoholism does not discriminate between rich or poor, black or white. All walks of the earth are problems by it, and we don't turn our back on anybody. It doesn't matter if you have the money to go to a fancy rehab or you don't have the money to go to anywhere. Everybody's welcome. The difference is the relationship with God. It really makes a difference. A lot of facilities can remove you from drugs and alcohol, but the tendency is to return unless you have something to put in its place. Anybody else? I believe we're going to start service soon, right?
The next bell.
Yeah. I'm not going to go off you, of course. Thank you very much.
Thank you. If you have any further questions, you can talk to them when you have your coffee.
Absolutely.
There's no one there in the other room.